most programming languages are included, evaluate code line by line by line. Control structures are ways to create branches or control the flow of execution in a program or a script. There are a variety of different types of control structures that are present in most programming languages are included, and we will be taking a quick look at some of the most common types of control structures that are used. The first type of control structure is known as an if statement. An if-based control structure evaluates an expression or condition and checks if that expression or condition evaluates to true. If it does evaluate to true, a set of instructions are executed that are surrounded by curly braces. Associated with the if statement is the else or else if statement. Else if statements or else statements provide alternative sets of instructions to be executed if the condition or expression evaluates to false. Another way to control the flow of execution in a script or an application is to use the switch case statements. We will now take a look at some examples of if statements, if-else statements, and switch statements. When writing an if statement, we need to test for a condition. In this case, I have a couple of variables over here. Variable 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 that are present in the global environment. I will start by changing the value of one variable. I'm changing the value of var3 to 3, and then I will start writing my if statement. I shall evaluate if the value of var2 is greater than or equal to the value that is present in var3. If var2 is in fact greater than or equal to var3, I shall do the following. I shall increment var3. I shall increment var3 by raising var3 to the factor 2. If var2 is less than var3, I have the else statement. The else statement is going to perform an alternate instruction if in fact var2 is not greater than var3. If var2 is not greater than var3, I shall be changing what the value of var2 is. And so we shall see the execution of this if statement. Now, if I want to, I should run this entire block of code to execute the entire if-else statement. And so I'm selecting the entire block of code that I want, that is part of the control structure, and I am going to be running it. And we can see that var2 is 4 and var3 is still 3. What this means was var2 was found, var2 was 2, var3 was 3, var2 was not greater than or equal to var3, and so variable 2 was squared. If I run this if statement once again, notice that var3 has been set to 9. One can in fact test for multiple conditions as part of an if-else statement. For instance, I can modify that to be the following. If var2 greater than or equal to var3, I shall square var3. Else, if var3 greater than or equal to var2. So in the next if statement, I am evaluating if var2 is greater than var3, and if var2 is greater than var3, I am squaring var3. If var3 is greater than var2, then I'm squaring var2. If neither of those two conditions are true, then I state that values of var3 and var2 are equal. And so, if I run this block, notice that var2 changes to 16 and var3 is left at 9. If I change var3 to in fact being 16, and I run that same block of code once again, notice that I print out the values of var3 and var2 are equal. And so this is a complete code block, complete if statement over here, where I'm evaluating two conditions, and if neither of them are true, the else is triggered. The switch statement is another way to execute lines of code based on the evaluation of a condition. In this case, I'm going to demonstrate the use of a switch statement on the value of a variable. I'm going to be setting var2 equal to 2. Once I do that, here is what a switch statement looks like. In a switch statement, I'm evaluating a variable. I'm evaluating some expression or condition, in this case, the value of var2. Subsequently, I will be describing the different cases that will correspond to the value of var2. In this case, the value of var2 is 2, and I would need to have at least two cases so that the appropriate case is performed as the switch statement evaluates var2. For example, I could have something like case 1 as print var2. The second case would be print var2 square, and the third case would be print var2 cube. When I run this, you will notice that because the value of var2 is 2, switch evaluates the value of var2, and based on what the value of var2 is, executes the corresponding case. In this case, my case is 2, which is printing the value of var2 raised to 2, which is the value 4. If statements and switch statements are ways to control the execution of code that is present in a script that is either written in R or any other programming language.